Hey guys, and welcome back to the Heal with Kat podcast. My name is Kat, and I am your host, and welcome back to another week of another episode on the podcast. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are not new here, welcome back. I'm so grateful to have all of you here, no matter where you're starting on the Heal with Kat community journey. And this week, I'm really excited to share with you a live family constellation therapy session with a client of mine who I adore, who heard my What is FCT podcast episode. I think it's like episode number 52 or something. And she reached out to me immediately and said, I volunteer to be filmed in a session with you so that you can share this with other people. And the gratitude runs so deep for this because what you're about to witness on this week's episode is very vulnerable. You are literally going to hear and see and witness someone's life, someone's story, multiple people's stories, and how traumas have affected somebody in ways that we need to honor for her in this week's episode and reserve any judgment and hold space in our hearts for her as she shares her story, because it is vulnerable. It is really, really vulnerable to share. And she's not per se a new client, but she's a newer client. And she's so intuitive and so sweet and honest and courageous and strong and real. And those are like the ideal clients for me, people who are really ready to be honest, but courageous and strong, and tap into these natural intuitive abilities that we all have, we all possess, we all carry. And so it's been a really beautiful journey to work with her. But also, when I was editing the episode for this podcast, I was just with a smile on my face. Like, what a joy it is to be able to share this with you, because there are some huge aha moments in the episode. And so this week, as you're going to be listening to this, you'll be witnessing what an entire session with me looks like. And that was the whole point of this episode, was to share with you from start until finish, what is it like to do FCT with Kat? Because in my experience in FCT, a lot of people facilitate this differently. Everyone kind of has their own art form in how they utilize the morphogenic field, the consciousness field, how they set up the representatives, whether it's horses or people or paper. And so what you're going to see today is how I was taught how to conduct a family constellation, or FCT as abbreviation, session with someone. And it's been this really beautiful journey for me in the last 3 years of kind of discovering, okay, this is the way I was taught, and this is the way I am intuitively looking to work with it in my own way, right? You know, you learn how to do something by the book, and then you just kind of start to make it your own as you go. And so I'm really excited to share that with you today. And what I love the most about this episode and this session with Glow, my client, is that we work specifically on the mother wound. And the mother wound is my favorite topic to work on with women, especially because there's such a unique opportunity to dive really deep into our identity as women and how we're here to show up in the world, and the ways that we are being blocked by familial trauma that prevents us from being who we want to be. And as a woman, that was the most potent part of my journey. It's interesting because I spent 10 years working on my relationship with my dad. And when I finally got to a place of acceptance and love with him, it was like this soft reckoning of like, okay, this is my relationship with my dad, and like I'm at peace with it. But the 2 years that I was doing the mother wound work and like the crazy experiences with FCT and just my own journey with it, it was like life-changing in ways that I'm still reconciling with. I just feel that what I've done in those 2 years is like what I did in 10 years with my dad, and then some. It's like that intense to work on your relationship with your mother. And I find that with a lot of my clients as well. Of course, our fathers are not perfect, and they play a very important role in our lives as the child, whether you're male or female or however you want to identify yourself. But the mother wound and our relationship to the mother is the most important relationship that we can work on. And so I think just the excitement in being able to show you what it's like to work on the mother wound in the realm of FCT is really exciting for me this week. So you'll see in the episode that I have edited it in a way that we kind of cruise through some parts, slow down from up with others. And just, I would recommend if you're listening to this, be really mindful and present, because you got to listen to the little things that kind of pop up in the conversation that keep us moving forward. And it's a really dynamic conversation, right? Like, the most important thing that I can do as an FCT facilitator is stay curious and ask the right questions, because I don't know it all. I'm there to be a guide and a witness for someone. And really, we're using the morphogenic field to look at the truth. And then we process the truth afterwards and like the feelings that come up. And then we come to a conclusion at the end. Like, okay, we went through this whole journey together for the last hour and a half. This is what you're here to work on today. And today you're going to witness heart healing and how abandonment, neglect, loss, the lack of a mother presence, all of these things contribute to a wounding in the heart, and then how we can start to heal that. And again, you're looking at one layer for a client in a layer of what could be many layers to come. And we have to keep that in mind with all healing, is that we do this in layers. So this is not the final story or iteration of Glow's journey with the mother wound. It's just one part of it. So I'm really, really excited to share this with you guys. And I know that some of you, on another note, I'm going to kind of switch directions for a hot second. I know this is the first time that I'm showing up on the podcast in the last 3 weeks after announcing that my family has gone through a super traumatic loss of my brother-in-law. The last 3 weeks of my life, I don't even have words for yet. And I want to speak on this at another time. I know that many of you have reached out, sending texts and DMs on Instagram, checking in with me. I love you all for that. And I'm so grateful to know that I have a community of people who care about my well-being and care about checking in on me. I have not responded to a single text or DM unless it's professionally related, because he only passed, I'm recording this on August 19th. He's only passed 10 days ago. And I've been in this, what feels like a tornado, just my whole life shaken up in a way I didn't see coming, right? Because this was an unexpected traumatic tragedy that happened to my brother-in-law and to our family and his family, right? Like, we have to hold space for everybody. I don't have the words yet. I don't want to go down the route of responding to things because I don't feel ready to say anything yet other than thank you. And so instead of responding to all of the messages in the text, which have been quite overwhelming, I'm just saying it here. Thank you. Because it feels good to know that when times are really hard and you're going through something really, really unexpected and traumatic, that people care and they want to be there for you. And that is such a gift. Like I said, I want to speak on this at another time. I don't know if that's going to be today. I don't know if that's going to be next week. I don't know. All I know is that it's only been 10 days since he's passed. I'm going to the funeral, or the celebration of life rather, later this week. I kind of want to give myself some time to go to the celebration of life and the mass and like close the chapter on what's happened in the last, what will be like a month since this happened, and then come back and record. So yeah, I know many of you were curious, and I just wanted to preface with that, but I just need more time because I have no words for what I've experienced in the last 3 weeks. And as many of you will know, following me on the podcast and on social media, before his tragic accident on July 29th, I was already feeling really stretched in so many areas of my life, personally, professionally, my health. It's been one hell of a 2024, like one hell of a year. And I had planned this trip to go to Italy with my boyfriend for a month and be with my family. And within 15 minutes, my whole life changed. And it just changes you. This whole thing just changes you. I don't feel better or worse. I just feel changed. Again, I'm still processing what's happened, and it's still happening. And if I thought I was exhausted before this whole thing and needing peace and time for healing in a different way than the traditional healing that you see me do all the time, now, like if I was at 40% or 50% before the accident, I'm at like 0, quite honestly. I've been sick for basically the last 3 weeks, like ill, like a flu. It's the stress of being stretched thin and then going through something really traumatic and then having to be in survival mode and be strong. And then all the things that come with processing everything that's happening. At the point that you're hearing this, I would have already been at the funeral and come home. So hopefully next week I'll record a podcast episode and talk about the experience. I really, really want to. I really have this desire to share the things that I've witnessed and observed and learned, specifically just about myself through the process. It has nothing to do with anybody else. But I think that there's always something that you can take away from these experiences that you can share with others that can be helpful. And I think no one tells you how, no one prepares you for this stuff. No one tells you how you're going to handle these situations. And my motto for the last 3 weeks has been assume the best of everyone, assume the best of myself, and give everyone the benefit of the doubt. So more on that hopefully next week if I'm feeling up to it. If not, I'll record on something else. I'm just kind of going to give myself time. But that's that. Back to this week's episode. Please listen with love, listen with an open heart. And I highly encourage you to ask questions about what you are witnessing in today's episode. Leave a comment if you're on YouTube, or a review on Spotify or Apple, or DM me on Instagram. I share this information with you in order to bring you into the fold of how powerful this work is. And I know there's going to be questions. So please don't hesitate to reach out and talk to me about what you're watching today, because the stuff is powerful. And it's also complex and very dynamic. And we just go with the flow with it and see where it takes us. So thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, on the last day of every month, I announce a free Family Constellation Therapy giveaway, like a free session for somebody. And all you have to do is rate, subscribe, and review the podcast. Screenshot the follow and all of that, the subscription and the review. Screenshot it and send it to me on Instagram. That's where I do like the main posting and engagement with my community. And that's where I'm also going to know where to find you when you win. So if you like what you see in today's episode and this kind of work is really calling to you, all you have to do is rate, subscribe, review, screenshot it, and send it to me. And I'm going to put your name in a list. And the last day of August, I'm going to go on ChatGPT and say, here's a list of people, pick one winner, and you might be that winner. And I do it every single month. So you always have a chance every single month to win a free session with me. And the list is growing. I only started doing this a couple of months ago, or actually maybe it's been like 3 or 4 months. So the list is growing, but it's still kind of short. So if you want to get a chance soon, put your name in, rate, subscribe, review. And with that, I'll stop rambling and let you enjoy this week's episode. Thanks, guys. So the last FCT that we worked on your relationship with your dad, and we were talking about his absence in your life. How are
Yeah.
you feeling after that since it's been about a month or so? And what's it been bringing up for you?
So, and it's funny because that was right before Father's Day. I believe maybe like the weekend before or something like that. And so I think I told you, but I was like scrolling through Instagram and there was this post saying like, you know what, it's okay. Like I forgive you because now I acknowledge that you were once a child
Mhm.
who probably didn't receive like the love that you needed to receive. And after the session, I was like, yeah, okay. And so I was okay with it. Like I wasn't angry. Like my brain just kind of like accepted it. Like it is what it is.
Mhm.
It's time to move on. You can't be angry forever.
Mhm.
And so I feel okay with it. And I feel like it happened very fast for me too. Like, okay, one session, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Like magic.
Well, I felt like you were super ready for that too. Well, we had saved mom and grandma for today. And, when we're talking about all of this, and this is just intuitively as well, like we need to look at the pattern of the stuff that you're carrying and repeating from mom and grandma. So I want you to start by telling me about your grandma and her childhood, her life, and any traumas she went through. And then we'll kind of go through some of the follow up questions.
So she has a very strong personality.
Mm.
We've always clashed since since as long as I can remember. We were like always fighting and all that. But she grew up with her aunt, if I'm not mistaken, with her sister. She was separated from her brothers. So she was in Puerto Rico with her sister, and then her brothers were in New York. And then her mom,
What was the reason for that?
I don't know.
You know,
I
okay.
don't know why they got separated. I know, so I'm not sure if it's because her dad moved to New York,
Oh,
and took the boys. But she doesn't really talk about that. So it's like I kind of have to like put the pieces together from like this story and that story. Um, but I know she stayed with this, so it's like two brothers or three brothers, and then her and her sister. So it kind of sounds like they kept the boys separate from the girls.
yeah.
And so that was her dad in New York with the brothers, and then her mom, she was mentally ill. I think it might be, well, I thought it was, or it could be, bipolar disorder
Okay.
because it does run in the family. Like her sister does have it. And so they never told me what it was, but they just kept her away in an asylum. And if I'm not mistaken, it was over in New York as well. I don't think she was in Puerto Rico either. And so she never grew up with her mother. It was always with her aunts, she had a very strong personality too. She was very strict and, what I say goes. Um, they grew up very poor.
Mm.
She was born in the 30s, and so I know they struggled a lot. I know it was kind of like that, the typical story, like, oh, I had to walk like 20 miles for school and struggle a lot. And so it was kind of like that. The city wasn't developed by that time, so it was a lot of like hardship and all that. And so my grandma did study, she did go to college, and then she was arranged for marriage with my grandfather, who she
How
never got along with.
how old was she?
I don't know. She was very young. I can say that, but I don't know if it's like the like 18, 20. I can't really say.
Was it younger than 18? Like was she maybe like 16 or you think it was a little bit
Probably a little bit older, at least 18.
okay. And she did not like her husband.
No, I never saw them get along ever. They stayed together till the end,
Mm.
but they never, ever, ever got along.
Was there drinking in the home growing up with her husband, or is there any alcoholism on that side of the family?
Not alcohol. My grandfather was addicted to like Coca-Cola, like Coke the drink.
Oh, we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
not alcohol was more can't remember if she said his dad, like my grandfather's dad,
Okay.
or one of her brothers. But that was like very vague and I don't know.
Yeah. So grandma was probably really angry,
Yeah, always.
always angry. So tell me about her personality in the ways that maybe you heard about her or what you see now even.
Yeah, no, so she was very strict, very hard-headed, but like this is my house. What I say goes, my rules. You can't really express yourself. So it's almost sad because I can't remember from my childhood, I can't remember like good positive words to describe her.
Yeah.
Because it was always something like I wanted to paint my room pink, something like, because I was a kid, I wanted to express myself. And I was always very sensitive and very creative, and it would become an issue. And so that's where we always kind of like, didn't get along.
So that's a really interesting thing that we look at with FCT because we're a lot of times in the dynamic where there's an older generation that is very like closed off or not expressive or very like resentful or had a very difficult childhood. It's almost like it's possible that when generations to come after want to express themselves or want to get a cool job or make money or do the things that they never had, they're like, oh, why would you want to do that? I didn't have that. And so that's where we get stuck in the belief of, oh, well, if they didn't have it, why would I have it? Why would it be okay for me? So that's a really interesting thing because when you were talking to me about your grandma, I just kept feeling like she never really got to express herself. There was like maybe this fear.
And it makes complete sense because she didn't really grow up with her parents. So, and her aunt was like, no, like you need to behave, you need to be a good girl, you need to go study and like go back home and then do the chores and take care of your sister, and that's it.
So your grandma was probably also parentified.
Probably. Whoa. Yeah.
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 So she had to grow up really young, really fast. And maybe she had dreams and had things that she wanted to do with her life, and no one gave her the freedom to do it, or that maybe economically, financially, whatever it was, religiously, whatever the circumstances were, she never got the ability to express herself. So imagine that feeling that you had when you didn't get to paint your room pink, but like over and over.
Yeah.
It's just something to think about, right? Like it really helps us to put a spotlight on grandma in a different way. However, it doesn't excuse her from the ways that she maybe hurt you or, how she made you feel, but it comes
Yeah.
from something. It comes from, and not having a nurturing mother to be there, the woman that held her in her womb for 9 months and didn't get to have that connection with her and, had basically she didn't have her mother or her father and was raised by maybe a woman she didn't even like.
Yeah, no. And that also really explains why she was never, because she's not the type to be like, oh, I love you, let me hug you, let me give you a kiss goodnight or stuff like that. So I didn't learn that because it wasn't the dynamic at home.
That sounds like it just all sounds like survival energy to me.
Yes. And so I Puerto Ricans in general, they're very loving and friendly and like, oh, come here, let me give you a hug, and like very warm. And when I was at school and even now, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you hugging her every time you see her every day? You don't have to hug her every day. And I have that mentality probably because of that. But in general, like that's the culture. Puerto Ricans are just like that, and it's normal.
Well, then that brings something really interesting up for you. Do you like being that way, or do you feel that there is a part of you that wants to express your love and be expressive and be creative, and you're not feeling the permission to be that way because nobody else was?
I wish I could be like that, but I can't tell you right now if I like it or not. Whenever I'm like that, I feel like I'm forcing myself to be that way.
Okay.
And I just kind of feel awkward. But I do wish I could just be like, okay, yeah, give me a hug and a kiss and I love you. Because even to my mom, I can't say I love you. Like I feel very awkward, and it's my mom.
Well, did your mom say I love you to you growing up?
Up until like maybe like 5, 6, 7 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened at that time that then it stopped? Was there a big experience or situation or trauma that happened or something, or was it just kind of just like died off?
I don't know. I guess like I was growing up and it kind of stopped, but nothing traumatic happened during that time. Not till after, but I don't remember saying I love you or her saying I love you to me from like 8, 9. No.
Yeah. Was 5, 6, 7 around the time that your brother started acting out and having problems when you were 5, 6, or 7?
So when I was about 7, he was 8, 9, 10, 11. That's about the time that he moved to another school. He met other people. He wasn't like into any addictions yet, but he was becoming a teenager.
Yeah.
So he was changing.
Did something happen in her work life? Did she get a new job? Did she have to take on another one? Just kind of thinking of all the potential reasons.
No, she's had the same job for 29 years. So all my life. Yeah. Teacher.
Well,
I think is that about the time she met her boyfriend? Might have been.
might have been when she met, and that's the boyfriend that you.
That I liked. My brother was like he liked him. He just wasn't up to her like marriage. So he
Oh,
was like, "No, I don't want you to marry him." And so she didn't.
yeah. Okay. Mothers and daughters have an opportunity to bond right away after birth. And the way that they continue to bond and connect with each other builds the relationship for the future. But especially as women, our relationship with our mother sets the tone for the relationships that we have with other people as well. Men and women. I mean, fathers have an impact too, but mothers have a really deep impact because it's our first technically intimate relationship in the sense of closeness. Um, when your mom stopped saying I love you, did you feel that you couldn't be close to her anymore? Um, did you feel a separation with her? Did you feel this sense of I'm on my own? Was there an acting out of any kind?
Was acting out. I just don't I don't remember.
Mm, yeah.
I don't remember at all. And within me, it was always like, oh, my dad doesn't love me because he left us. So I never kind of looked at that side either
Mhm.
till now. Um, I I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, that's okay. How did those words make you feel? Sorry, it was it was a statement that then went into an intuitive question, but
Sad? Sad. Yeah. Because also something that came to mind, I've always been very close to my mom. I can say she's my best friend.
mm,
However, when I was like always during my school life, it was just me and my grandma mostly because my mom works. And so whenever I had like a talent show or a presentation or anything school related, my mom wasn't there. My grandma was. And I do remember feeling some kind of resentment because she's not like my mom wasn't there. My grandma was, yes, but between the two, who I liked, who I got along with was my mom, and so she wasn't there.
so it's your grandma's life repeated. Mom wasn't there. The
Oh my
person
God.
that's raising me is not somebody that I really.
Holy shit.
Right. It's
I
crazy how
never made that connection.
yeah, it's crazy how it repeats, but it's just human behavior. They're just doing what they had to do and they're passing it on and then they're passing it on. But you said you felt resentment.
I did.
And so did you feel rejected by your mom or neglected or unimportant? Or did you understand, okay, my mom has to work. I know she loves me, she'll be back. Or was it kind of like a why are you leaving me type of thing?
Both.
Okay, interesting.
Both. I understood that she had to work. I got that 100%. But at the same time was like, you work every single day, you can't just take one day off.
Hmm.
Like it's not one day's not gonna hurt you type thing. So both.
So what would the word be? Neglected, rejected, abandoned? What would that be?
Out of the rejected.
Rejected.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing, and you tell me how this is feeling for you, what I'm hearing you say is my mom is my best friend and we're really close, but I still have resentment for her from my childhood? Or what is that? Like, what is the but? Can it fill that in for me?
But I wish she had been more present.
Yeah. Oh, I felt that one right here.
Yeah.
And so there's a maybe a grieving a little bit.
And see, this is where the conflict starts in my head because I completely understand. Like, she had bills to pay, she had two mouths to feed. Like, she was a single mother. Yes, she had help, but she's still a single mother, um, of two. And so, like, that part I get. It's very conflicting.
You know, I think that's actually really emotionally healthy to acknowledge all of it. My mom had to do what she had to do to raise us, and she did her best, but I still have these feelings I'm trying to navigate.
Yeah. Um, and it's not something I guess I had those feelings like in the back of my, not even head, heart.
Mm.
Um, but it's not something I even thought I had to process because in the larger picture, she was there, she took care of me, and she loved me. So to me, it wasn't even a problem, but I also see how it affected me.
How did it affect you? Tell me how it's affecting you now, or even back then.
Probably like self-esteem wise. Also my mom, her personality's not like like she's not, how do I put it into words that won't sound like, because I don't want to just say like, oh, she doesn't have a strong personality because she does. Like, she's a hardworking woman. But she's very soft-spoken. She's very like timid.
Mm.
Um,
Maybe
she lets
passive?
things very passive. Yes. Um, she'll let things like build up until she takes action or explodes, which I just realized I told you that I do in the last session. So
Okay.
yeah, I did say that. That I'm very like I'll let things build up and then I'll explode. Um,
I mean, that's probably maybe just a learned behavior of this is how your subconscious learned that this is
it
how you
just
deal with it. Yeah.
it just clicked in my brain. I was like, wait a minute.
So your grandma was there for most of your mom's life. Tell me about your mom, her childhood, and some of the stuff that she went through.
So they were always together. It was my grandfather, my grandmother, my mom, and her brother. He's 1 year younger. But it was that dynamic where the girl does everything in the house and then the boy gets to do the fun things and, go off to college or, well, I mean, my mom did go to college, but um he got to have the fun part of the deal, I guess. My mom, I know she did tell me once she started like making dinner and like preparing all the meals in the house till like since she was 12. So
Wow.
that means she took care of everything in the house since a very young age.
Did both her parents
Um,
work? Is that why? Or did they just put that responsibility on her?
I'm not sure. Both of them worked. I don't really know what happened with my grandfather. I don't get it because I know he was at work because they told me, but then he was at home and not doing anything, and then the stories don't match up, so I don't really know which one's which. But when my grandmother gave birth to my mom, she was having like very fast palpitations of the heart. And so they had to like take her out. My mom was born about like 4 or 5 months old. And I know she did say that my grandfather was nowhere to be found, maybe at work. So she had to go through that alone. And same thing with my uncle.
So your grandfather worked through both of the births and didn't come
Yeah.
around. Okay.
Nah.
That's super traditional.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
interesting. My mentor, she used to, I never knew this until she explained it to me, but back in the day when women would have babies, they would go in alone and the doctors would tell them what to do, and the women would have no say over their bodies or what they felt was right. They'd basically get knocked out, have the baby, and then wake up with a baby in their arms, and half the time the dad wouldn't be there because like men weren't really allowed like in that area of the hospital or whatever. So there was like a very cold separation between like this
Yeah,
beautiful thing that just happened and like the family unit expanding. That love was like stripped away from the experience.
that's crazy.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Um,
I can't
I
imagine
don't know
not
if you
being there and
ever.
my boyfriend not being there. I'd like that's like the one
No,
person you lean on.
I'll be crying the whole time.
Seriously.
And I can't imagine like the fear she felt because she was not only worried about the baby,
Mm.
she was worried that, she would die. Because she did tell me once, like, oh, I thought I was gonna die. Like, I didn't think I was gonna make it through that. She has heart problems.
Oh,
And so every time she would get like tachycardia, it was like she would have to get rushed to the hospital. And the only reason my mom was born the day she was born, is because of that.
so your mom was born preemie,
Yeah.
and then she probably lived in the NICU for a few months before she was able to come out.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. Remember how we talked about when mothers first have their babies and the importance of that bonding, and if they don't get that, the baby doesn't know what to bond to. The baby's nervous system doesn't know the difference between their nervous system, like their identity, and the mom's identity until around 6 months old. So the baby thinks that whatever mom is feeling and going through, they also go through. It's like this deep, deep connection that they have physically, energetically, emotionally, also.
Got chills.
Isn't that crazy? Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It and like all of these things are coming out now, like with science behind it, that this is real stuff. And so what this shows me is that and again, we're looking at like a larger pattern here. Your grandma was stripped away from her mom without a say. Your mom was stripped away from her mom without a say. You were kind of stripped away from your mom without a say, all for survival. Your great grandmother had to survive by going to the mental asylum. Your mom had to survive for whatever reason, but in the NICU and the incubator and all of that. And you had to survive, and your mom had to survive by teaching. I mean, everyone's just, your grandma had to survive. Like everybody's just like in survival mode. So it's like,
Yeah.
when I look at everything, I see, like, of course, everybody was so disconnected from their own warmth and love and nurturing in a sense. Maybe not everyone feels that way, but in a sense, everybody's kind of, displaying that because that safety, that love, that nurturing, that home that we need as babies was taken from them without their
Yeah.
say in it.
Yeah. And that's being disconnected from myself is something that I have felt so deeply. Um, because now at 29, I'm trying to discover like who I am, what I like, like what's my life purpose.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of things from my childhood I don't even remember because I feel like I was just like out of my body the whole time. So that's interesting that you say that.
Well, the mother wound is really interesting because when anyone comes to me and says, I want to work on money, I want to work on what my purpose is, I want to work on worthiness, I want to work on feeling safe to be seen, I want to work on my ability to be loving, I always look at the mother wound first because that's where we learn those things first. Money is just worthiness. Being seen means that our needs were met and we felt seen by our mothers and our basic caretaking was given to us. Like, what's my purpose? Well, the purpose one is really interesting because, and you tell me if this resonates with you in any way. It feels like maybe there might be something with grandma, but when our mothers have us because they're forced to, because they get married, because they accidentally get pregnant, for whatever reason, it's hard for the child because then the mother says, well, this wasn't maybe what I wanted, but this is what I have to do. And so there's the feeling of like maybe the mother isn't totally fully in the relationship with the child because maybe they weren't prepared for it, right?
At some point of my life, I felt like I was my mother's only purpose. Um, my mom's the type to be like she's very present now. Probably more than before. She's always calling me and making sure that I'm okay. Now that I don't live with her, always making sure that I had a meal, making sure that I'm sleeping, to the point that she'll still baby talk to me. And I'm
Mm.
like, Mom, I'm an adult now. Stop it.
Mm.
But at the same time, I'm like afraid to say anything because I feel like if I do tell her like, oh, don't talk to me that way, I'm grown or this and that, then she's gonna feel very, very bad about it. And it's like, okay, what do I do now? You're my baby.
It's so interesting because I wonder if that's her guilt of not being able to be around when you were growing up a lot and having to teach and work. And maybe
Well,
she feels like she missed out on some stuff with you. So she tried to become overbearing emotionally. Like maybe she has her own guilt. I mean, we'll look at the field. We'll see. Like I think the field is going to show
yeah.
us a lot. I think I have like a lot of really good information here that we can go into the field. But I'm just curious if a lot of the ways that she shows love is fueled by guilt.
That makes sense because sometimes I feel like she got stuck in th- that age where I was still a kid and she's like trying to make up for something. That's a thought I had before, but
Yeah.
I never understood why. But the other thing I was gonna say, they both resonate because when I was born, she was going through a divorce with my dad. And so she had my brother and her husband for all those 4 years. And then suddenly she's having a little girl and no husband around. And so she's having to do that alone for the first time. And she's probably like, okay, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? I have two kids and I'm alone.
I have full body chills as you're saying that. I think it's really good to look at all these different perspectives. And again, we're just talking through some of this stuff. So we'll look at the field and see what happens on the papers to show us a little bit more of what's going on behind the scenes. But just give me one moment. I'm just going to add something else in here. You don't have any heart issues, do you?
As far as I know, no, but it's always a concern in I like energy drinks.
Okay.
And so I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I need this. But what about my heart? And it's something that it's always been in my head.
Yeah.
Because, and I feel like this is why, um, my grandma has always been like, oh, you need to behave because I have a bad heart. And if you upset me, then something might happen to me.
Hmm.
And so I've always been sure to like, be a good girl and behave and not do anything that might upset her that much because and something I always told my mom was like I don't want to be the reason why she dies.
You could never be the reason why she dies.
Yeah, well that's as a kid that's what you think like, oh, if I make her upset and she dies, her heart went out because of me. And so that's terrible.
It's a lot of responsibility to put on a young child who is just a child.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe no fault to hers, but she just didn't have the tools to navigate this stuff. And it sounds like a lot of fear and panic,
Yeah.
like feeling out of control. Maybe she was like, this thing is out of control. Like I need to control everything around me. And maybe that's the reason for, her being so strict.
It makes sense. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have an unhealthy relationship with the energy drinks? Like, could you just stop cold turkey, or are you like, no, there's no. So you're like grandpa with the Cokes.
Whoa. And then it's not only that, every time I go to work out, which is like 4 days a week, I want pre-workout.
Okay. What
And
do you
then
think?
coffee after that.
Yeah, what do you think that is? You like the high of it? Like, do you like how it makes you feel? Okay. Well, that's also really common with the mother wound is filling the parts of us that we didn't get from mom that we need or dad and need to, fill up. I mean, I look at mom first and then dad's if dad wasn't around, then it's kind of like an extra adds an extra layer to it. Okay. I think that we have everything we need to get onto the papers. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything else you want to add?
I think we covered everything.
Did okay, Spirit's asking, did your grandma have a miscarriage or did she lose a baby girl at an early age or a baby at an early age?
No, but my mom had a miscarriage.
Oh, your mom did. Okay. How old was she when she had it?
Uh, Before 26 years old,
Okay.
because she had my brother at 26, and that was supposed to be the firstborn. I think it was a boy,
Right?
I think.
Interesting. Because I feel a young female spirit here who feels very connected to your grandma.
Oh, I'm getting chills.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh,
It's not your spirit baby. It doesn't feel like mom. It feels like there's a connection to grandma.
she, I mean, she might have and she didn't even know.
Maybe, maybe. Have you ever asked her if she did?
No, it's not a question I thought like, it never came up in my head.
Okay. If it's significant and we need to address it, we'll see it in the papers in the field. So we'll just leave it.
I was going to say, my I've always felt this connection to my grandma's mother, so my great grandmother.
Mhm.
And I don't know, because I was always like very interested in the fact that they were twins. She had a twin. I've
Oh,
never seen her.
oh no, again, this feels like grandma's daughter. It feels like a
Well, I mean, she might have, and she just maybe had thought she had her period or something.
baby.
Because back then they probably didn't know where to get like pregnancy test.
Yeah. It could
Um,
have been a chemical pregnancy too, but it just well, let me ask really quick. Hold on a second. So it feels like she came in to teach your grandma something, as if there was no plan for her to ever come fully through. And she knew that. And souls, that happens often, where souls will come in and make themselves present. A lot of times it could be to make up for something, to support them with something, like whatever the karmic or the soul contract is. And it feels like she came in for a little bit and then it was in order to help your grandma move forward with something. So I don't know if she ended up having kids after that, or maybe she was going through a rough time and like it just feels something interesting. And you may never know what it is, but I think she's here. I think she's just here to make herself known, to be honest. She may have more of a purpose later on, but yeah, I don't know. I would say she's just here to make it
is
might
she like a spirit guide?
like a spirit. Well, she's just like well, she's a spirit baby, but she's not a baby. She was a spirit baby. She is like a being now, like a older. She shows me that she's like a little bit older, like in her 20s. I wonder it interesting. I don't know. I don't want to like assume anything. Let's just like pause there with it. We'll see if it
Yeah.
comes up in the field. And if it doesn't, we'll just thank her and move on. But so that
Mhm.
happens a lot. Like different beings will come in because I mean, this stuff, like not everyone's doing it. Mediumship and this kind of work and like opening a
Mhm.
field of, hey, I'll talk to anyone that wants to come through if you're here to
Yeah.
help flow. So sometimes different beings will come through and just make themselves known. It's not uncommon. Okay, let's see. How are you feeling so far? Feeling good?
I'm good. I'm like, whoa.
So I would say that before we open the field together and get on the papers, what I would say are the things that we're really working with here is we need to bring some love and some acknowledgement back into the family system. And we've got to give you the peace and the fulfillment in your heart that regardless of the very human choices that your mom had to make, you were always loved. You were made from love. Like we need to refill that hole that you're filling in your heart, filling with the energy drinks or whatever else that you're doing. Like we want to fill that piece of your heart with love. We want to acknowledge everybody in the family who has the same wound of the empty heart. And then we want to address some healing statements with them. So I would say that this is pretty much what I would recommend we focus on is bringing this love and this mother energy back into the family system. How would you feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's needed.
Because I think that really at the end of the day, like, yes, we could say, well, do you want a purpose? Do you want this? Do you want that? But at the end of the day, I feel like what we'd really be going back to with worthiness, with purpose, with money, with relationships, with whatever, is your heart. It feels like there's just a collective heart wounding that needs healing.
Yeah. Almost like it's like the root of it is what's coming to mind.
And then when we fill that hole and we heal it, then you're able to move forward and feel more compassion for your mom and be more connected to your purpose. And maybe your relationship dynamic starts to change. Maybe she starts to feel the ripple effect of what we do today and she starts to change. And maybe you
Mhm.
start feeling more comfortable expressing yourself, being loving, offering hugs, if that's something that feels really good to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I was even told once, like, oh, maybe it's because you just don't like physical touch. Like, maybe we can like test you for autism or something like that. And I'm like, I don't think it's that deep.
Mm,
Um,
that's extreme.
but no, for real.
That seems oh, you don't like hugs, you're probably autistic. That seems a little
Problem
intense.
solved.
Problem solved, you're autistic. No. It's just seems that of course there's multiple parts to everything, right? Like this is just the ancestral piece of it. There could be other things, but I think this is layer number one for it.
Yeah,
Okay, love, do you need to use the restroom, get some water or anything?
I'm good. But
Okay.
I'll wait for you if you need to go.
No,
Okay.
I'm good. So, go ahead and get yourself seated on the chair and close your eyes down. We'll just open the field together real quick. So, taking a few deep breaths, getting the wiggles out of the body, and using the exhales to drop into the body. So, we've done a lot in the mind, a lot of thinking, a lot of analyzing. And now we get to use your body as the conduit or the energetic antenna of the information to show us the truth of what's really happening here and to bring healing back to you and your family. So start by exhaling all of your air out and take a big inhale in through the nose, fill up to the belly and the chest and hold at the top and gather any busyness in the mind, any nerves, any anxiety, any thoughts, and exhale them out through the mouth, sigh it out and let it go. Beautiful. And then again, inhale up through the nose, bigger breath this time, maybe a little bit of a deeper hold. And then exhale and sink the shoulders away from the ears and allow your body to sink into the couch a little bit more. And then last inhale this time, big inhale up through the belly and the chest, maybe sip some air through the lips at the top and hold. And then exhale your last and final sigh out the mouth and feel the buzziness in the body. And we're going to tune into your mind's eye, your imagination center, your third eye, and visualize calling in your ancestors. So behind your right shoulder, create a little bit of space behind it. See your dad and set the intention to see his entire lineage back through the beginning of time and just hold that here for a moment. And then on the left side, you're going to do the same. So see your mom behind your left shoulder and create a little bit of space in between you both and see her entire lineage back behind her to the beginning of time and hold. If you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and come back to the space here. All right.
Well,
What's that?
so my dad's side was closer than last time, and they had like different attitudes. It was more of a, I know there's distance, but I got you
Oh,
energy. Yeah,
love that. Different from last time for sure.
very different.
Yeah. And your mom's
Yeah,
side?
calm.
Okay.
Just like I'm here for whatever you need energy, but like very calm and passive.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was no abuse in your mom's childhood, was there?
No,
No.
not that I know of, no.
Okay. All right. So you're going to grab 4 pieces of paper and just label number one, two, three, and four. And then when you're ready, you're going to take these papers and you're going to place them on the floor however you feel that they need to go. What's the paper that's at the front by those boxes that's facing sideways a little bit?
That one right there?
Yeah.
Number 1.
Okay. And then is there one directly across from it to the
So,
right?
this one right here?
Yeah. Which one is that?
Number 2.
Number two. Okay. And then 3 is on the top and 4 is next to you on the
And yeah. So next to me on the couch is number 3.
number 3. Okay. And then number 4 is right above it.
Right.
And is it in the same line as number 1? Like 1's here, 4's here?
Yes, and they're actually like both a little tilted.
Okay. But 3 and 4, you said, are looking at each other.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that's like the most confusing part. Okay. So in looking at these papers, which one do you want to stand on first?
2. It keeps calling me.
Perfect. Okay, so go
Maybe
ahead when you're ready. Stand on paper number 2. And remember, none of this is going to make sense, and that's okay. We'll make sense of it later. Just tell me what you feel emotionally and physically.
I'm not getting anything right now.
Okay? That's okay.
Does it have to do that my left hand is itchy?
Yes.
Nothing.
No emotions, just the left hand is itchy.
Yeah, just that. Like I don't feel neither sad nor happy. I'm just here.
Would you say that you maybe feel numb, or do you just genuinely not have any emotions?
Nothing. No emotions.
No emotions. Okay. Well, you're facing number 3. So go ahead and focus your attention on number 3 for me. And tell me what comes up for you when you look at 3.
I'm getting the word confusion. Red?
Red, like the color?
Yeah. Okay, so I know I'm not supposed to understand any of this right now, but like I'm not understanding. Like that's the feeling I'm getting. Like I'm just confused.
Okay. You're just like, I'm not understanding number 3.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Anything else before I have you hop off?
Nope, just confused.
Okay. Go ahead and hop off the paper, come into a neutral space and shake that confusion off, shake that energy off. Well done for the first one. This is going to make so much sense later. I'm really excited to tell you. Okay. You've been to 2, you have 1, 3, and 4 left. Which one do you want to go to next?
3, because I want to know.
Okay. When you're ready.
Is this my grandma? Because ugh, I feel like I'm in a position of like authority right now. Wow. Okay. I feel like I'm the head of the household right now for some reason. Or is it, oh, okay. What am I? Like, I need to take care of people that are not below me. I don't know if that's the word that's the word that came to my mind, but like maybe like people depend on me.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I don't neutral. I'm just like, let's just get this over with, maybe.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
This has to be my grandma because you know what I'm thinking of? Like plantain soup.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. If you look straight in front of you right now, what paper is in front of you?
Number 4.
Okay, so just look at number 4 for me and tell me what you see and what you feel when you look at 4.
My brain just said, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. And I'm getting the color green, but like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
you feel sorry towards number 4, or number 4 is telling sorry to you, or what's the relationship with I'm sorry?
Like number 3 is telling number 4, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll just give you just another minute here if anything comes up. Your body doing anything?
Oh, yeah. So I'm doing this. I think I just did this. I just kind of put my right foot on my left one for like a second, and that's why I kind of stumbled to the left a little.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and hop off that paper and then come into a neutral space. Wow. This work never ceases to amaze me, I swear.
I
It's
can't
like you're
wait.
super intuitive. It's crazy. It's cool. All right. When you feel back in your own energy, you have 1 and 4 left.
I got chills just now. Wow.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is anyone with me?
Oh, I mean, I don't see anyone, but that doesn't mean there's nobody there.
No, for reals. Wow. I want to go to 4 though. It's
Okay.
like looking at me and calling me. Why do I feel like that's my mom? It might not be, but
Okay.
my mom gives me the color green for
Oh,
some reason.
all right. So Facing number 3. What else?
I feel like, huh. I feel like I can't even talk.
That's okay.
So, not necessarily a child, but like a younger energy, like maybe like or not even youthful, just like innocent. Like yeah, innocence, I guess.
Hmm.
It's like I want to give 3 my hand for some reason, like hold my hand.
You want number 3 to hold your hand?
Yeah, I know, I'm sad.
It's okay. You can let the tears out. It could be really cathartic and helpful for you to process what's coming up.
But it's almost like hold my hand, but like I'm sad because for some reason they're like they either don't want to hold it or they hold it for like a second and then let go.
And it's making you feel nervous, making you feel
It's making me feel like when I felt when I was a child and I wanted my dad.
okay. And you wanted your dad because your mom wasn't around?
Not necessarily, just like I just wanted love, I guess, or like affection, bonding time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have you face forward just for a hot second and tell me how it feels to stand facing forward on this paper.
It's giving yellow.
It's giving yellow. Okay. Love that. I'm going to quote that. It's giving yellow. Okay.
I don't feel sad anymore. I'm like more cheerful for some reason.
Okay. Okay. Hop off that paper. You did beautifully.
Wow.
That was a really big one. Holy crap.
So I don't know if you could see me.
A little bit.
'Cause during that whole time I kept going like this and like kind of like when a child is like fidgeting and they're like, okay, stay still. I don't know, like swinging. I don't know if that has anything to do with it,
Yeah. That's helpful.
but
Okay. Last but not least, number 1.
yeah, those chills. Wow. Oh yeah.
That's the field. The field's working through you. That is like the number 1 sign that the field's working. So trust what you're feeling right now. Trust what comes up.
I wonder what this is because it's very uncomfortable to be here.
Okay. Is it a feeling in your body? Looks like it maybe is an uncomfortable feeling in your body, or is it emotionally, or just the energy of it's just uncomfortable?
Oh, everything. I'm getting chills. I'm like kind of, I guess it's like anxious.
Okay. Are
It's
you
like
okay?
uncomfortable to be in my body.
It's sorry, say that. I spoke over you on accident.
Oh, sorry. I know it's like uncomfortable to be like in my body right now, and then I'm getting chills, and it's like yuck.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm getting.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay to stay on there for just another little bit, or do you want to get off immediately?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like you're facing all the papers. So I'm going to ask you, when you're looking at all these papers here, which one really stands out to you right now?
3.
So go ahead and look at 3, or if you feel you can, face 3 and just,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm facing directly at 3 right now.
perfect. Tell me what comes up.
Honestly, what just came into my brain was like, what the fuck, man? That's it. Wow.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is some frustration.
I guess. It's almost like I don't even know what to do with you.
Okay.
I know I'm making this face right now. I'm not like I just got that feeling of awareness. Like stop making that yuck face.
It's okay. It's good to just embrace all the shapes and the stuff that comes up. It kind of can help us release what's in the body. Okay, so I don't know what to do with you. What the fuck? Making faces, uncomfortable, anxiety, and protecting yourself.
Oh, yeah, I guess I am.
Okay. All right, love. Anything else before I have you come on? Okay, come sit down. Leave the papers where they are and come sit down. This is really freaking fascinating. We're going to do a bit of processing together. Oh, it's 11:11 where I am. Love that.
Oh,
Okay.
111 for me. 111.
Ah!
I've been getting that number like all the time, all the
Oh my
time, all the
God.
time.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's awesome. Okay, so let's tell you what each paper was, then we'll go over how you set them up, and then we'll go over what you did on each one. So, paper number 1 is your grandma. I put in strong personality. Yeah, strong personality. Her aunt raised her, separated from her brothers when they were in New York. Her mom was mentally ill, bipolar disorder, kept her mom in an asylum, didn't grow up with her mom. Aunt was strict, grew up poor, struggled a lot, survival energy. I mean, I put in everything that we talked about with your grandma, basically. And I even put in, if you're bad, you'll make me sick. I put in like that as well.
Yeah. Wow. Mm.
Number 2 was you. And for you, we put in, I wish I could be more loving and expressive. I can't say I love you to my mom, 5, 6, and 7 years old, when around the time your mom's boyfriend came into the picture, acting out, doesn't remember childhood, sadness, mostly raised by grandma because her mom worked a lot, resentment, why are you leaving me, rejected, all of the things. Down to, I even put in you being concerned about heart issues and addiction to energy drinks and being a good girl. I put in that as well. Paper number
Didn't feel any.
what?
Sorry, I didn't feel anything.
We're going to talk about that. So,
Wow.
paper number 3 is your mom. And I put in single mother of 2, worked as a teacher, soft spoken, timid, passive, lets things build up and explodes, oldest child. The girl does all the work while the brother gets all the perks, parentified. Both her parents worked. I put in her birth trauma, the incubator, being away from her mom, your dad not really, her dad rather not being around, overbearing, and baby talking to you, guilt, and then the miscarriage. Paper number 4, I put in the heart chakra because I wanted to see what the heart chakra could share with the field or reflect with the papers. I just kind of wanted to see what would happen. But with the heart chakra, I put in grief, loss, divorce, mother wound, my mom leaves, love is guilt, heart problems, tachycardia, filling the empty void. I also probably would have put in dad's not around, but I felt we were really focusing on the mother stuff, so I just put that in.
Yeah.
So the way
Wait,
you oh yeah,
sorry, is the heart chakra green?
it is green.
Oh.
I got full body chills when you said that.
Oh my God.
You like, I mean, I can't wait to go over this with you. So the way that you set up the papers, you are blocked from moving forward in your life around this, or there's like a block around expression and love and this because of your grandmother's trauma, the way that your grandmother's trauma affected the way she raised you and your mom, and the heart chakra. So 1 and 4 are at the top of the field, and the heart chakra represents grief, loss, divorce, mother wound, all those things. So the pain and the trauma is at the top with the person where the root cause potentially comes from, at least in one layer of it. And then you and your mom are behind. So it's almost like you and your mom are just repeating the patterns of the stuff that happened before you. It's crazy, crazy cool. You first went to your paper, which is a huge good sign. Like, I want to see you go to your paper first because it means you recognize yourself and you're with you on your paper first. So you stood on your paper and you were facing your mom. You didn't face forward. Immediately you were like looking for your mom, which understandable. And you said, I'm not getting much. I'm not sad. I'm not happy. I kind of have no emotions. But you said my left hand is itchy. Well, the left side of the body is the feminine, and itchiness shows anger. So what I would take from that paper is maybe there's a lack of expressing yourself and your love for your mom because you didn't get that from her. In a sense, maybe it looks like there's a block around that. And there's some anger towards your mom that we need to address. How do you feel about that? Is it resonating?
I mean, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
uh, but it's more of a how would you even address that
Yeah.
when she's always been so good to me and so hardworking and she's given so much and it's like, you know.
Remember what we talked about where a very healthy perspective is yes, and yes, my mom really worked hard and I needed more and I needed this. It's about validating our feelings and our needs.
Yeah.
So when I say that, does it feel like maybe there were some things that you really needed from your mom that you didn't get, and there could be some anger from childhood around that?
Yeah, I can definitely see it. Especially 5 years old is coming keeps popping in my brain saying hello. I don't know, maybe because that was about the time that I was going into like kindergarten and like I was actually having school activities and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I know that's probably why I acted out because I just wanted like attention. And my mother did always tell me like, oh, whenever I wouldn't give you attention, I would give attention to your brother. You would just throw a fit and go to a corner and like sit down and pout and just be like, oh, angry.
And so what age did your dad leave? Like right before you were born, right?
Probably just like a few months before.
Okay, so there's a pattern as well. So, yeah, so if you're not able to get your love from your dad, the other part of the person that brought you into this world, and you're only relying on one person to get that love and attention, and she has the responsibility to give it to two children, and your brother's acting out, and there's a lot of conflict with your brother. We talked about this last time. Then a lot of the attention is going to go to your brother and maybe left room for you to not have that love and attention?
Um, because later on, like around the time that I was like maybe 12,
Mm.
he started getting into like actual trouble with like drugs and all that. And so all the attention was always on him. And I was starting to like, I was starting my teenage years,
Yeah,
puberty and new friends, new school, this and that.
yeah.
And so random but probably relevant. One time at school, I told the nurse that I was gonna throw myself off the school ceiling or roof, just for shits and giggles, and then she made a big deal out of it, and I was like, "Why are you making such a big deal out of it? But, like, look at me," you know?
So there was this
That makes sense.
of course it makes sense. There was this need of no one's giving me the love and attention that I need, so I'm gonna make a really big deal out of my life so somebody pays attention. Of course.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
so the anger is valid, but there's multiple truths around it. And I think that's really important to keep in mind. That your mom did the best that she could with the tools that she had, and she did her best, but you still needed more, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I had you look at your mom and you said, I feel very confused by her. I see red, which when I always take colors as the chakras because I work so heavily with them. So I look at the root chakra. The root chakra represents family, home, stability, money, a family unit. And if you weren't getting that from even before you were born, there could be some confusion around it, anger around it, some unprocessed feelings, because you just kept saying, I'm not understanding what's going on with number three. I'm very confused. And that could make
Yeah.
somebody angry. Yeah.
Which would explain, like, the whole because I do like, currently in my life, there's a lot of instability and, like, money problems and just, like, overall confusion.
It's just the subconscious takes in when we're a child. This is what normal is because this is what I live in every single day. So this is how life must be. And then we just recreate those patterns when we get older because that's what we think normal is. But then we
Mhm.
grow up and you go on this beautiful healing journey and you're like, I don't think this is normal. Like I feel like I need to like do something about this. So let's address that, excuse me, let's address that confusion today, okay? We're going to
Yeah.
address that in the healing statements. Okay. Next paper we have is you went to your mom. I think you were so confused by her. You're like, I need to figure out who this is. Your hands were immediately protecting your body. And you said, this has to be my grandma, who is your mom. You said, I feel like I'm in a position of authority. I'm the head of the house. What am I? I don't even know what my role is. I need to take care of the people who depend on me. My feelings are neutral, but I just like want to get this over with. You said, this has to be my grandma because of plantain soup. So what I take from that is your mom was deeply parentified,
Yeah.
and she still is, and she's having to take care of everyone, and it's a heavy burden that she's carrying. She doesn't even know what she is in the family, just maybe she doesn't even have an identity outside of being a caretaker, and then on top of that, a teacher, right? So she's just constantly giving and giving and giving. And then, you said this has to be my grandma because of plantain soup. Well, maybe she loves your grandma's plantain soup. And maybe when your grandma made plantain soup, that's when she felt like a kid. That's when she felt loved and nurtured. I mean, there's just hypotheticals to think about. But what your mom's paper shows me is a deeply parentified caregiver who just gives, and is like, you're confused, I'm confused. Like, what am I? You know what I mean?
Quick thing, random, because I just remember I did tell you that I put my right foot on top of my left foot. That is something my mom always does when she's doing dishes. And I was like, wait, yeah, that's my mom.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's like always her.
Oh my gosh. So it's interesting because you were facing the heart chakra with all of the like trauma, and you just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then you did the foot thing. And I'm like, what is she sorry about? I don't get it. Well, it made sense when we went to paper number 4, because you went to paper number 4 next, which is the heart chakra with the grief, the loss, divorce, mother wound, my mom leaves, love is guilt, heart problems, tachycardia, filling the empty void. On that paper, you said, is that my mom? I see the color green. So you thought your mom was all of the heavy stuff, which everyone's carrying. So it would make sense you would sense that about her. You faced her immediately, so you didn't want to face forward. So there's like a need to face your mom with this stuff, which is this is good. Your hands were protecting yourself, and you were playing with your hands. I saw like a lot of nervous hands, and you said, it's hard for me to make words. I feel a younger energy here. It feels like innocence. To me, what I hear as a heart chakra reflecting that information, that really at the end of the day, all of the women that we've talked about in your family have had to give up their innocence at a very young age. And so it's interesting because that presents another complex dynamic within the family system around their innocence being taken from them, and just maybe the anger around that, or maybe if everyone feels like the victim and mom feels like a perpetrator. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could go into, technical stuff, but for the sake of just processing the paper, yeah, there's a lot of anger and sadness and grief because everyone's innocence was taken from them. You said, I want to hold number 3's hand, and I'm really sad because it's like either my mom doesn't want to hold my hand, or my mom holds it for a second and then lets go. And Spirit said, everyone is fearful of love because love doesn't stick around. Dad, mom. And so you said, this actually feels like when I wanted my dad's love, my body would get like this. So that just shows me like there's a need, like everyone wants to feel loved and no one's connecting to it deep enough to feel fulfilled by it. And you said, I wanted his love, attention, and affection. And so this just screams grief, innocence being lost. Everyone is fearful of love. I mean, there's so much pain there that we get to help resolve today, but tell me what's coming up for you.
I'm just like, because so for one, I thought I was like aware of like most things, but then that's crazy. And yes, on the like big on the innocence thing, because I guess for my mom was like having to be a parent from like a very young age. For me, I guess it was like the whole thing with like, well, with my dad first, and then like my brother, because I feel like I from age 15 I was not a kid anymore. I was like an adult in a teenager's body. And it felt exactly like getting like my innocence like yanked off of me.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandma probably she lost it at a very, 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 very young age.
She lost it at a young age, and then from there had to grow up quickly. Your mom had to grow up quickly. You went through things that you had to grow up to quickly.
Yeah.
So, do you ever connect with your inner child? Do you have a relationship with her?
I don't know.
That's going to be your biggest job after today's session, is to get really curious about what an inner child is and explore what you liked as a kid, what you didn't like as a kid. And even if you don't, I didn't remember a lot of my childhood. I remembered trips, and I remembered like maybe some like bad things that maybe like made me didn't make me feel good. Like I remembered my friends, but my family, it was really hard for me to recall memories. And so going on my inner child journey took some time. I had to get really curious, a lot of meditation. I used like to be magnetic, which is another tool that I'll send to you in case you want to look into it. Um, have you heard of to be magnetic before? It's really
No.
interesting. It's like subconscious manifestation, but it's also meditations. It's really interesting. I just think that it's going to be interesting for you to reconnect with her, because
Yeah.
I think if my gut serves me right, what you're eventually going to get to the point of is the opportunity to validate your inner child's experience instead of forgetting to survive. You'll be able to go back and tell her, you're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to feel this way. And it's
Yeah.
almost like this rekindling of a relationship with a part of us that we all can benefit from.
Yeah. I don't the only thing I remember is I really liked like painting and like drawing
Yeah.
and dancing. Dancing was a big part of my life. Like I went to classes for like jazz dance since I was 4. But all of that I stopped doing. Like I haven't danced in years, I haven't like drawn in years. I don't paint anymore. So it's kind of like I forgot about that part of me. And then the rest, I don't remember my childhood at all.
So that's a great entry point into going into your childhood, is go on Amazon and buy some paints or some whatever color pencils, buy a sketchbook and start painting, start drawing. Maybe, if you're alone in the house, this is my guilty pleasure. If I'm alone in the house, I put some Celine Dion on and I let myself sing and yell and dance and have fun. And I just, because my inner child wanted to do that shit so bad. And I was so afraid of what everyone was going to think of me, or was my sister going to walk in on me in the bathroom, like just so much fear. And through
Mm.
those things that you do, you're going to start awakening these parts of you. Oh, this is what I really liked. Oh, this is why I stopped doing this. And you're just kind of developing a new relationship with her. It's not a you have to do this. It's a suggestion, but I do think that it could be really, really helpful for you.
Yeah. Something I just remembered. When I was a kid and I would draw something, I would immediately go for like my mom or my grandma or someone, anyone,
Yeah.
and show them just to see if they liked them, like liked whatever I made. Almost like I needed that validation. Like, is it good enough for you? Can you hang it on the fridge?
Course. Kids want that validation. They want to make their parents proud. They want to feel important to their parents. And if you're already sensing a disconnect with your family, then of course you're going to be like, here's a bid for connection. Are you going to meet me in that connection? No? Okay. And then it builds and builds. And then you're a sweet young girl who's telling her teacher, I'm going to get on top of the roof. And the teacher is like, hello, there's something wrong here. Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
your sweetheart was grieving the disconnect that every single woman in your family was also feeling.
Yeah. That's crazy because back then I was like, yeah, I'm just whatever. This is no big deal.
I know, I know.
But no, that's crazy.
Yeah, I hear you fully. So yeah, I'll send you some of this stuff for the inner child. Um, okay. I'm writing just another paper for us to do the healing statements. Beautiful. Okay, the last paper that you went to was your grandma's paper. And on grandma's paper, I mean, the way you were standing, it felt like an older energy. It kind of gives me goosebumps to think about right now. You were super uncomfortable and you're like, I'm uncomfortable to be here. You were like protecting yourself, you're moving your arms. everything is uncomfortable in my body, just anxiety. And you said, if this paper could be a word, it would be yuck. Like, yuck. I don't like being in this energy. And then I was like, okay, well, you're facing your mom, her daughter. You're facing your daughter. What do you see? And you're like, what the fuck, man? I don't know what to do with you. Making faces and protecting yourself. Grandma had to grow up way too fast. Her innocence was gone. I mean, this is really a field of seeing that the family pattern is I have to give up my innocence in order to feel connection and love with my family.
And
Which is why you couldn't paint your room pink. You know what I mean? Which is why you couldn't. Yeah.
No, and then it might have to do also like the fact that she had to have a family with someone she didn't even like because it was arranged.
Amen, sister.
So
And then maybe her friends were marrying people that they actually loved. Or maybe, you know, her sister, or maybe who knows what she was seeing around her and her.
also, my grandmother married a black man back then, and her family, her sister who is darker than her, she hated her skin because it was slightly darker. And so the fact that she was arranged to marry a black man, that was another whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so much more underneath the surface there.
Yeah.
Anger, grief, the heart, the heartbreak, the loss, all of it. What I want to do today for the healing statements is we're going to talk to grandma and mom, and we are going to address the innocence of grief. We're going to extend compassion to both of them, that their lives were taken from them in a way out of their control. That's probably why your grandma was so strict. That's the only way she could get control. And maybe your mom got control through teaching. She could, you know, do it through work or whatever it is. But really, at the end of the day, what I want to do is bring you back to the energy of loving to express yourself. And that is probably love for you. I mean, it sounds like it. Expressing yourself, having feelings. Maybe love for you looks like, hey, I drew you this. Hey, I painted this for you. Hey, let's dance.
Heavy on that.
Yeah. So we're learning how, as a child, in your most innocent form, you were existing in the world and how you had to disconnect from that in order to belong. We're going to call that back today. We're going to send back to your mom and grandma what you don't need to carry for them anymore. And we'll just do what we did last time. Just do some healing statements, okay?
Yes.
So this fifth piece of paper is going to represent painting, drawing, dance, expression. I reclaim these parts of me I gave up for love. I reclaim my gifts, talents, and love of expression. Is there anything else you want to add on that?
Authenticity.
Ooh.
You're like, okay, girl.
Okay. I love that you said it's giving yellow. Like I just it's like I love it. Like it's giving yellow. I've never heard that, and yet I want everyone to be like, it's giving depression. You know, like it's giving anxiety.
Trauma.
It's giving trauma right now. Okay, so we're gonna move all these papers. So just grab them all in your hands. We're gonna start from scratch. And then I'm gonna have you take paper number 5 and put it on top of 4, and then actually put 5 on the top, 2 in the middle, and 4 on the bottom. Perfect. And then have that facing forward, maybe towards the window. I like to do it facing like light. Make sure there's a room for you to take a step forward in front of it.
Right there.
Okay, and then you're gonna take paper number 3, which is your mom, and you're gonna put her behind you to the left, all facing the same way. But yeah. And then grandma is gonna go behind her to the left. So you're at the top, grandma and mom behind, and then grandma's behind mom. So this is the way that you belong in your family system. You at the front and everyone behind you. And then one day, if you have kids, your kids will go in front of you. That's kind of how the order belongs in the family before everyone was behind the trauma. So go ahead and stand on 5, 2, and 4 and tell me how this feels. Does it feel a little bit better, a little bit confusing?
Lighter.
Lighter. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's turn around and face your mom and grandma. And like I always say, I channel these. So if you can tap on your chest for me, it opens up the heart space so we can get the right words through. And feel your feet on the floor. And take a deep breath. We're going to look at grandma first and say, what do you want to call her?
Grandma is fine.
You can say Abuela if you want to.
Sure.
Yeah, however you want to. Okay, say, Dear Abuela,
Dear Abuela,
I honor you.
I honor you.
I wonder what life was like for you.
I wonder what life was like for you.
Growing up
With
your mom ripped out of your life.
With your mom ripped out of your life.
And your father nowhere to be found.
And your father nowhere to be found.
Choosing your brothers over you.
Choosing your brothers over you.
And a sister who suffered.
You
gave up your innocence.
You gave up your innocence.
At a young age. In order to survive. And this disconnected you. From your innocence and love. I wonder if you ever truly felt. Love and affection, love and adored. Affection and care. Seen and felt important. I can understand why. If you didn't get those needs met. You would feel angry. In order for you to continue to survive. Through an arranged marriage. And other hardships. You had to keep yourself closed. Closed off from your heart and your joy and expression. Like me, you tried to be a good girl. And this is a pattern I can no longer partake in. Because now I can see. That it's holding me back. From my passions and my joy. Connecting to my purpose. And living in love. I know that you did the best that you could. And I am here healing the pain of the past. So we can finally be free. And live in our magic. I am your granddaughter.
I am your grandmother.
I am your granddaughter.
Oh, I am your granddaughter.
And you are my grandmother.
And you are my grandmother.
And I will hold my rightful role.
And I will hold my rightful
role.
Role.
With love and compassion. Thank you for taking back your pain and trauma. I will no longer carry what is not mine to hold.
I will no longer carry what is not mine to hold.
Do you want to say I love you?
I love you. I'm still like, wow. Like it's awkward.
Yeah. So I want you to, instead of tapping, just place your hand on your heart. You can place both if you want. And I want you to look at your grandmother. And I want you to think in your mind about her and the things that you do love about her, the things that you do admire about her. Even if it's just one thing. She made good plantain soup. Take that and roll with it. And just express your gratitude from your heart towards her. You don't have to say it out loud, just in your heart. Look at her and just express your gratitude for her being alive so she could have your mom who gave you life. That's it. Are there any words that want to come out?
So basically I said, I was thankful and I was acknowledging the fact that she's not afraid to speak up her mind, which is something that both my mom and I are afraid to do. She does not care. She will say what she needs to say. But also, I told her that regardless of whatever happened growing up, I have the life that I have and I have the education that I have because of her. And then I said, thank you.
Beautiful. Perfect. That was well done. Okay. Shake that off. Take a big stretch. Open up the heart a little bit. We're moving a lot of energy. And we're going to talk to your mom, okay?
Yes.
So go ahead, tap on the heart, tap on the chest. What do you want to call your mom?
Mama.
Mama. Okay. Take a deep breath, ground into the feet. Remember, you are guided and protected by so many beings that are here with you now. You have the strength to say what you need to say. So look at your mom's paper and say, Dear Mama,
Dear Mama,
I love you
I love you.
and I honor you.
And I honor you.
When I see you,
When I see you,
I can acknowledge
I can acknowledge
all of the great things that you did,
all of the great things that you did,
all of the sacrifice that you made,
all of the sacrifice that you made,
and the selflessness that you had.
and the selflessness that you have.
Because of you,
Because of you,
I was able to live a good life.
I was able to live a great life.
And also,
And also,
there is a part within me
there is a part within me
I'm learning to feel
I'm learning to feel.
that needed a little bit more.
Can you say that part again? Sorry.
That needed a little bit more.
That needed a little bit more.
Are you feeling a little resistance in this one?
No, I'm just kind of deaf also.
You're okay. Okay.
Or maybe I think I'm more nervous on this than I was with my grandma.
Okay. Let's go softly then. So just look at your mom and say, just like me,
Just like me,
you were a little girl with needs.
you were a little girl with needs.
You needed your mom
You needed your mom
when you were brought into this world.
when you were brought into this world.
You needed her care, love, and strength.
You needed her love, care, and strength.
And you needed her connection.
And you needed her connection.
My whole life,
My whole life,
I have watched this conflict play out in front of me,
I have watched this conflict play out in front of me.
and it now lives inside me.
And it now lives inside me.
It's okay. This is heavy. This is heavy to channel too. It's big, big stuff. Just take a deep breath. I know that you did your best.
I know that you did your best.
And in my heart,
And in my heart,
I dreamed of more.
I dreamed of more.
That doesn't make you a bad person.
That doesn't make you a bad person.
It just shows me
It just shows me
how much of survival energy is running our family.
how much survival energy is running our family.
Now, at this time in my life,
Now at this time of my life,
I have the opportunity
I have the opportunity
to take my power back,
to take my power back,
heal my heart,
heal my heart,
and heal the loss of innocence and grief in our family.
and heal the loss of innocence and grief in our family.
Mama,
Mama,
I need your permission
I need your permission
to move forward in my life,
to move forward in my life,
to have my own dreams and desires. You can let it out, it's okay.
to have my own dreams and desires,
So I can stop repeating
so I can stop repeating
the pain of the past.
the pain of the past.
It is not mine to repeat, carry, or hold anymore.
It is not mine to repeat, carry, or hold anymore.
I will always look kindly on you,
I will always look kindly on you.
and I ask that you look kindly on me too,
And I ask that you look kindly on me too.
with your permission as I move forward,
With your permission as I move forward,
honoring what you did not have,
honoring what you did not have,
and learning how to feel worthy of what I do.
and learning how to feel worthy of what I do.
I love you.
I love feeling.
Just take a moment. You can stop tapping. Just let the feelings come. You can hold your heart. You can do what we did with grandma if you want to. Just take a moment.
Wowzers.
Yeah. All right. So let's do your healing statements to move forward. Okay. Do you want to do anything else with mom? Or are you feeling okay?
We're good.
Okay. All right. So stand facing forward, face the window. And I want you to place both your hands on your heart, almost like hugging your heart. Just giving yourself that warmth and that love and leaning into being open to learning to nurture yourself and give yourself the things that you need. And I want you to imagine yourself painting, drawing, dancing, painting your room pink, expressing yourself. And as you do that, say, I reclaim
I reclaim
these parts of me I gave up for love.
this parts of me that I gave up for love.
I reclaim my gifts,
I reclaim my gifts,
talents, and love of expression.
talents of love and expression.
I give myself the permission
I give myself the permission
to be fully authentically me.
to be fully authentically me.
Okay, when you feel ready, I want you to take a big step forward, walking into that energy. And when you feel ready, you can come sit down. How are you feeling?
That was heavy. I mean, good. It's the part where we were saying, like asking for permission to move on, because that's when I realized, like, oh my God, I don't do a lot of things because of my mom. Like, not because she won't let me or anything, or she'll feel bad of X Y thing, but just like out of my need to not let other people feel bad, because that is a big thing that I do. Like, I stop myself from doing things or like saying things so I don't make other people feel bad. But like that's where it comes from.
And that's it. That's expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe your mom did not express herself because when your grandma did, it was criticism or anger or frustration, or maybe it wasn't loving and positive all the time, right? Like we have to leave room for the moments that your grandma may have been loving and kind and sweet, but maybe that your grandmother's anger affected your mom and was like, I'm not going to say how I feel. And then you searched for, I got to connect with my mom and bond with my mom. I'm not going to say how I feel either. No one's going to say how they feel.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's something that is always being pointed out to me, even at work.
Mm.
Yeah, like, oh, you're afraid to say no, or you're very careful with the words you use towards other people. Yeah, because I don't want to upset them.
Well, because your words did upset people at one point, and the consequences you faced for it were not fun for you as a kid.
Yeah. And so it's like and I feel like a lot of people, it's like, oh, you're afraid of this person or this person. It's not like the person itself. It's like just afraid of like it's gonna backfire on me again and I'm gonna feel the way I did when I was a kid.
So you shut your expression down. But part of your expression was also painting and drawing and dancing. So it's almost like all expression shut down in order to survive. I wouldn't be surprised if your grandma was so angry and so expressive of that anger as a child that it was kind of shut down in her too.
Probably because if she's not afraid to say whatever she wants to say now, I wonder how it was back then.
Mm. Yeah.
Because she will not hold back, but it's you're right, it's probably toned down, so I wonder how it was before.
Well, and also, I mean, she continued to be forced into positions where even if she had a voice, no one was listening. So she had to just be like, oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use my voice as criticism or judgment or anger or being strict or all these other shadow ways of expressing myself. When in reality, maybe all she wanted to say was, where the F is my mom? Why did you take my brothers and not take me? I'm alone here with this person I don't like. Like why won't anyone tell me what's going on with my mom? Like, I don't want to marry this person. But all of that is like stuffed inside of her. And then it causes her to act a certain way that becomes her parenting style and affects your mom, which causes her to have, it just repeats itself.
Yeah.
But today, what we did is we gave that back to her. And when we give it back, we have to trust that we're not giving it back through the ego of, here's your anger back, or here's this back. It's a loving way of saying, listen, I'm carrying something that's not mine. I'm going to give this energy back to you in this very special field that we're in with your guides and your angels and all of your protectors. And we're going to trust that the highest and best good of everyone is happening. And we're trusting that when we give it back, that maybe it reaches your grandma in the sense of maybe she has like an aha moment. Maybe the energy gets sent back to her and it's like healed because we're doing it in a loving way. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, or maybe she says, I love you. Or maybe something changes, right? Or maybe it doesn't. Either way, the shift happens, it ripples out in the family system, and you get to be free from it now. So just like
Yeah.
experience that small shift with your dad, I'm curious what that shift is going to look like for you after this as well.
And with my mom, like I'm wondering if she's because last session,
Yeah.
I called her and she was just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, are you okay?" And then she cried.
Huh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Did she tell you what?
She couldn't tell, like she couldn't tell what the feelings were exactly. She just felt like she needed to cry and she did. And if I'm not mistaken, on her paper last time, she was sad or angry or like she had like those type of emotions.
Yeah, a lot of sadness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this was really beautiful. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to recommend that I'll email to you after this to follow up on after the session to kind of continue the healing energy. You can just take the papers and you can just rip them up or burn them, pray over them, send some love to them, just burn them and like you can throw them away. You don't have to keep them. If you want to keep any papers, you can keep 5, 4, and 2 because it's you. You can keep them for a few days and stand on them if you want to feel that good energy, if that can help you.
Yeah.
But the other ones you
Yeah.
can get rid of.
Okay.
And what I think is going to be best for you is, and these are just suggestions. The first thing that came through is I think it might be helpful to you to write a letter to your mom and burn it. So don't ever give it to her, but it needs to be around the things that you're angry about still. If it lingers, right? If you're still like you're waking up to like, oh, I'm angry because she did this or this, that, whatever. Just write a letter to your mom and then burn it. You never have to give it to her. In fact, I wouldn't give it to her because we've done a lot of
Mhm.
healing. Yeah. But just burn it. And it's just that's like a symbolism of you somatically getting your thoughts out on a piece of paper writing, then you burn it and you pray over it. It's just kind of a little ceremony. The second thing is I really see an opportunity to connect with your inner child through painting, drawing, and dancing. So lean
And
in.
that one excites me.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
that's your soul. We're calling that
Yeah.
part of your soul, that fun, that part of that makes you you. And so maybe instead of writing that letter to your mom and giving it to her, maybe the way that you write a letter to your mom and give something to her is through a painting. Maybe you do something for her. Maybe, there's an extension of love there.
Yeah.
A healing offering. And then I'm also going to send you a document and a book around nonviolent communication. And I'm not saying you communicate violently, it's just the term for it. But it's a really helpful way to understand how to learn to express yourself and say how you feel in a very like a emotionally mature way where if you want to express yourself and something is happening around you that you don't like, then you can say it's making me feel like this. It's just little tools that you can keep in your pocket, and if it's happening at work or happening at home, you can just say it instead of maybe some other ways that you're doing it that don't, or maybe the ways that you're not doing it that don't feel good for you.
I 100% need that. Yeah.
My boyfriend sent it to me when we first started dating, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy." Do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
Um, no. I am gonna meditate today though.
1,000%. Give your inner child what she needs, and just
Yeah.
let her, because she experienced a bit of healing today too. So take care of her,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I'll check in with you in about a week and see how you're doing. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, thanks, Gloria.
Wow. Today I was like, whoa.
Yeah, today was intense. So I'm serious. Like, take it super easy.
Yeah,
Drink a lot of water and take care of
I
yourself.
will. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.